Our next script is titled Mother, written by Sean Malcolm. It's about a Syrian mother trapped in Aleppo who becomes a sniper to defend her family.
In this scene, Farida and her son Sammy are trapped in their rebel-held neighborhood in Aleppo, surrounded by regime forces on all sides. Her husband and father have disappeared after venturing out to find medicine, and the situation has never been more dire. When a charming rebel commander offers her food in exchange for a home-cooked meal, she has no choice but to oblige. Interior, Frida's apartment, dining area, later that night. The power is still out. The dining table is lit by 2 candles and a flashlight. Farida sits with Sammy next to her, the soldier across from them. They're enjoying minced lamb with bread and chickpeas. All 3 eat with gusto. Sammy is shy, not looking up much, but enjoying the food.
My husband says not to eat near the window when the power is out.
We've established a solid perimeter around the area. It's safe.
He chews heartily, then washes it down with water.
Between the snipers like myself and our anti-tank missiles, every time they try and enter, we stop them.
She listens, eating modestly, rarely looking up. Sammy looks up for a moment, stares at him.
Are they going to blow up our house?
Soldier studies him for a long moment.
No. The regime can't afford to waste munitions on empty buildings, so they wait on the outskirts, avoiding losses. They believe if they can circle us and wait, we'll give up. But we'll never surrender. Aleppo, right?
Sammy nods as if he understands, looks back to his plate. Soldier takes another bite, savoring it.
We have reinforcements coming, armed with more gifts from the Americans. If we can hold out, there's talk of a negotiation in Geneva, maybe even a ceasefire.
Those words send a glimmer of hope across the table. She looks at Sammy, notices him rubbing his eye.
Excuse me, my son is very tired.
She rises, picks up one of the flashlights.
I'm not tired, Mama.
She takes him by the arm.
I know. Say goodnight to Mr. Hamid and thank you for dinner.
Thank you for dinner, Mr. Hamid.
Soldier smiles at him.
Good night, little soldier.
She guides Sammy away by the beam of the light. Interior, Sammy's room continuous. She tucks him under his blanket and hands him the flashlight.
Don't waste the battery, okay?
Okay. Will you feed the kitty?
Yeah, I'll feed Kitty.
Okay. I miss Baba.
Me too, my love. Every time I pray, I ask Allah to bring him home.
Me too.
Good. Allah is watching over us. Remember that. Good night.
Good night, Mama.
She turns off his flashlight, leaves his door slightly ajar. Interior, Frida's apartment dining area, continuous. Farida sits back at the table across from Soldier.
I can tell you're a caring mother.
Thank you. Loving your child isn't hard, it's natural.
Yes, instinct.
She sips her water, then looks over at the sniper rifle leaning against the wall.
I could never do what you do.
He thinks for a moment.
No one is born a killer. We only fight because we have to.
He stares at her.
Maybe we're not so different. You know, you and I.
She looks at him, not sure she agrees, but unwilling to challenge him.
I don't know whether it's instinct or destiny, but I know it's his will.
It seems to me our instincts often go against his will, but how could I know for sure?
He shrugs.
Here's what I can tell you. When it's your life or theirs, the act is simple. You raise the barrel, resting it on your arm. Listening? Or the windowsill. It's like this. focus the scope, finding your target in the crosshairs. And you hold the butt tight against your cheek to move with the recoil. You exhale deeply so your breathing doesn't move the barrel. And when all your breath has left your body and not 1 ounce remains, pow! Pull the trigger. Physics does the rest.
She looks at him. His eyes only seem colder in the dim light. He puts his arms down.
Something changes in you. You know, it can never be undone when you accept this. It becomes easier.
She looks at him, suddenly aware of how uncomfortable she's become with a stranger in her house at this hour.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the meal. We appreciate your kindness.
He leans back, studying her.
It's not a problem. I can protect you and your son.
She looks at him a bit sideways.
We're fine, thank you. My husband and my father.
No, I didn't want you to say, I didn't want you to say it in front of your son. But you realize you will never see them again. Right?
She stares at him hard, gaze narrowing.
He's a survivor and he'll be home anytime. I know it. He's very resourceful.
He bores back into her with his eyes.
You're lying to yourself. We're surrounded. The regime would never let him pass through. He's been disappeared. He's been disappeared. If he's not already dead.
She stands.
I want you to leave now, please.
He looks at her, a dark glint in his eyes. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a 9mm pistol, and casually rests it on the table, keeping it tight in his hand.
Don't make this difficult. You knew I wanted more than a meal. And you let me in. No one has to know.
He stands, the gun in his hand, moves closer. She's shaking.
A pious woman like you could be stoned to death. A pious woman like you could be stoned to death. Do the right thing for your son. Keep your mouth shut.
He rushes forward, smothering her with one hand as he puts the gun to her head with the other.